Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for the third and final part of the Q&As. So let's go ahead and finish this up. All right, first question. How to calculate percentage with body weight exercises. If 1 rep max weighted pull-up equals body weight plus 60 pounds, then 55% is, well, if the percentage is lower than 100% body weight, how would you reduce your own body weight? Bands helping you up, or switch to lat pull down even though the pattern is different than chin-ups? Well, you need to get strong enough to do your target numbers with your body weight. I don't understand what the problem is. Look, if you're not strong enough to do pull-ups or chin-ups or dips, then you need to get strong enough to do them. You use band-assisted exercises to do that. Right? You can use reverse bands to do that. But if you have a program that's calling for more reps than what your body weight is, then it might be time to rethink what you're doing with the program. In other words, how high of reps are you actually doing? How high of reps are you actually doing? Are you doing 10s and 12s and stuff? Well, I usually don't advocate that for anyone but advanced lifters who are periodizing. So whose program are you running? You're not running one of my programs. You're not running anyone's program who I know of who's a good strength coach. Why are you doing that? Maybe you need a different program if you're having to run percentages that low, because people who aren't advanced lifters don't need to be doing 10 plus reps. There's no reason. You don't need that. You need to be getting stronger. I don't think you need to generally do anything over about 8. And even then, all right, if you need reverse bands to do 8 pull-ups, then use reverse bands to do 8 pull-ups. But I would say you need to be doing lower reps than 8 if you need reverse bands to get to that. Right? But as far as the percentages go, it's very easy. Use body weight plus the weight on there, then you get the percentage of it. The only reason we don't calculate that on things like the squat and the deadlift is because they're generally so much higher than your body weight the way on the bar that we don't really worry about it that way, even though they're technically weighted body weight exercises. Yeah, that's how you calculate it. But again, at a certain threshold, you've got to ask, what sort of program are you on that's having you do ultra high reps on these exercises that you can't actually do them unless you're a novice, in which case you don't need those sort of rep ranges. You need to get strong. All right, next question. Why can a really weak noob lifters take significant volume and still recover? Is it just total weight being moved? What do you mean significant volume? I mean, you do realize the weight moved is part of the volume, right? So what's the same total volume? Well, if a noob can do 3 sets of 10 with 250 pounds, that's the same volume as 3 sets of 5 with 500, right? Same volume. Total tonnage moved, given the range of motion, also the range of motion is a factor and everything else. That's your volume. And if you wanted to be technical, it's just that we don't measure distance in this. It would be your volume on an exercise would be for that exercise. And remember, not every exercise is equal in its fatigue because they have different joint angle specificities going on, different ranges of motion, all of that. But your volume is your reps times sets times weight. It's not just reps and sets. In other words, it is a hell of a lot more taxing to do 5 reps with 500 pounds than it is to do 5 reps with 250 pounds, right? That's twice the volume. And from a recovery end, it's harder. And it's just as easy for someone really strong to recover from that. So yeah, the noobs, just because they're weaker, they have to do an enormous amount of more work to generate the same fatigue, right? Because they can't lift heavy weight. They're not strong. So for them, they just don't have enough strength to generate high workloads without spending 2 hours in the gym, right? So it is about the weight moved. It's a strength and work capacity that needs to be considered. That's why they can recover. If you just mean the volume, meaning the sets and reps, well, obviously a novice can recover from higher sets and reps consistently than an advanced lifter. Unless the advanced lifter uses the same weight the novice is using, in which case it's going to be no problem. But the weight is part of the volume. It can't be removed from the volume. It is part of the volume and is part of the adaptative stress that you have to recover from. All right, next question. Thoughts on splitting your 5x5 into a 2-day program instead of a full body for someone who wants to be in the gym a bit more? While I know it's not optimal, part of making progress is consistency. I was thinking something like, we're not going to go through what he was thinking of. Well, I think if you're that obsessed with the gym, then you probably need to get a life at a certain point. I mean, are you a professional athlete? Do you not have any life at all? Because I'm going to tell you right now, that program has you in the gym a lot. That's a very high volume program. My novice 5x5 is so much work that a lot of people can't recover from it. That's why I tell people there's criteria to run the program. You want to be in the gym more than that. I'm going to be honest with you. I think maybe you need to get some friends or a girlfriend or a hobby. If you think you need to be in the gym more than that, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Now, if you're going to be a serious athlete later, okay, that's fine. I understand that. But if you just want to be in the gym more, here's what I would recommend. No, don't split it up. It's going to impact the training results. You're going to not get the same results. Here's what I would do. Run the cutting version of it, right? Instead of doing the 5x5, do the 3x5 version, run the cutting version, and then come in on your off days and do some GPP work, right? Do some general physical preparedness work if you just feel that you need to be in the gym more days than that. And that's totally reasonable. Don't go super hard on the GPP because it's going to interfere with the recovery. You're going to need to reduce the total volume on the program to handle that. So you need to run the cutting version while in a caloric surplus and do GPP work on the off days, sled drags, prowler pushes, barbell complexes. That's what I'd recommend, right? That's what I'd recommend. But anyone who's trying to get in the gym 5 or 6 days a week as a novice, especially on a hard program, you're going to burn yourself out. And what's going to happen is you're going to quit coming to the gym eventually because you're going to get too fatigued, you're going to get too tired, and you're going to give up on this. You're going to give up because it's going to be too hard. It's not going to create the consistency you think it is. All right, next question. You've had time off due to work/life getting in the way. How would you attack the training to get back to your previous PRs, and what difference would you factor in for a 3-month break, 6-month break, or a 12-month break? I wouldn't. If you've taken a 3-month break from training, you have completely detrained. Just like 6 or 12 months. Now, you've probably detrained less than those, but you need to start back on some sort of novice program. That's what you do. You're talking about attacking your previous PRs. That needs to be the last thing on your mind. If you've missed 3 months or 6 months in the gym, worrying about your old PRs is not your immediate concern. Not your immediate concern. Your immediate concern is relearning to do the exercises again at all. Relearning the movement patterns, not hurting yourself. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you've taken 3 months off from the gym and you were squatting 315 for sets of 5, I'm going to tell you right now, if you get under 225, you're going to hurt yourself probably. So you're going to need to be concerned with rebuilding the motor patterns, rebuilding just your basic strength, and you're going to need to start easy. You're probably going to need a couple of weeks just getting your mobility and the movement patterns down again. That needs to be your immediate concern. And it might take you months to get back where you were, right? It's going to take you months to get back where you were, depending upon how much you've detrained and how advanced you were at the time. I mean, you'll get back to it, but that's not going to be your immediate. You don't need to be thinking in those terms. Don't even think in those terms of how should I attack this? It's like, no, you don't need to think about that at all. That mentality is going to get you hurt. You need to think back to, oh man, I need to learn how to train again. I need to make sure my hips are mobile enough. I need to make sure I have proper mobility in my shoulders. You start back over at square one. And you need to be conservative until you are sure you have the movement patterns down again. Don't even think in those terms. Don't think about how do I get back to where I was. You need to think about how can I relearn and start at all. Forget the other. Erase it from your mind. You're going to get hurt if you are thinking in those terms, because that's exactly what's going to happen. How can I get there as quickly as I can? Well, you don't need to be thinking about how quickly you can. You need to spend a couple of months just doing the basics again. Don't take 3 months off. Don't take 6 months off. You won't have to deal with this again. But if you have, you're going to need to approach it with the right mindset. And you can't be with that ferocity and drive. You're going to need to be slow. You're going to need to be careful. You have to rebuild your base. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.